Welcome to In the Cantina with OHCATRINA, a Star Wars live show where the hyper focuses meet the expertise of creators, experts, and contributors to the most creative fans in the galaxy. I am OHCATRINA. I am your host. We're back for a second episode after I made up the show on the spot, and I am so glad that I have some amazing guests this week. On hand today, we have Dustin, who is the DM for the critically acclaimed web series An Unwavering Force and co-producer of the amazing, incredible Goblets Gays TV show. Hi, Dustin. How are you?
Hello, glad to be here.
And then we've also got Aki, who is also a co-producer of Goblets Gays, and you know them, you'll love them, Soma from An Unwavering Force. Hi, Aki.
Hello.
I am really excited to have you both here today. We are talking almost entirely about the Phantom Menace, which I'm really excited about. This past week, Empire dropped news that it would be celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace and the prequels overall, with a series of interviews and new photos and all that. And also, the Phantom Menace will be coming back to theaters for the first time in 25 years, and that is just so exciting. How are you guys taking the news? How do y'all feel about it? We'll start with Dusty.
I'll be honest, like I'm a little unreasonably excited to see it in theaters again.
Mm-hmm.
We just started a rewatch of it, and that movie has some words in it, has some scenes, has some characters in it. But also like the prequel era is like my era that I grew up with. And
Mm-hmm.
so also that poster is sick as hell.
Oh my god, that poster like stopped the whole world when it dropped that first time. Just like
Mhm.
I think that was the moment where the realization had hit us all because Dusty and I are both millennials, and we were the target age group, and so what, like 2 years earlier they had released the original trilogy special editions in theaters, and so everyone was pretty hyped about that. But then this trailer dropped, and like mm, it felt like Star Wars is back, but it also felt like, oh my god, this is all this stuff that we don't know, and like there's so much mystery even though we know how this sort of ends. Like it was a good time to be alive. Aki, how do you feel about the 25th anniversary of TPM?
It sounds old. I
Is it not to like pry or anything, but is it older or younger than you?
It is the same age as me.
Ah, that's perfect.
When's the release
Oh,
date of Phantom Menace? Wait, give me a second.
Well,
oh my
I
god.
mean, like, yeah, it has to be the same age as me. I'm 25.
Hmm. Yeah, it definitely, when you see numbers like that, it really hits. Like it
Mhm.
even hit me back at like at what was it? Celebration Chicago was the 25th anniversary, and it hurts my heart that that was 5 years ago. But like, or the 20th anniversary, and that was 5 years ago. And like, so this came, and I was like somehow surprised, even though I really had no right to be. Like I knew this is coming. Like I've been doing this Star Wars fan thing for like over 30 years now. And yeah, I just it's going to be I'm really excited to, as a millennial, share this movie with the next generations, like this film experience overall, because like the Phantom Menace is nice on TV and like it's fine and stuff, but like it's a completely different experience in theaters to see like the scale of everything that happens on screen, like in big form, and like what, like now 4K or like Dolby Digital fancy time hoo ha's. I'm really excited.
Oh, you'll be able to see every pore on Liam Neeson's face.
Every, you'll be able to see every pore on Ian McDiarmid's face.
Oh
That's
gosh, you're right.
mm,
Yep. Yep,
so
every
excited.
wrinkle.
every wrinkle. At that point where we were all like, he seems kind of fishy. I wonder what wonder what his deal is. It was a new time, a fine time, and there was a lot of marketing that went on around the release of the Phantom Menace. And we've seen a lot of really interesting and fun like marketing projects kind of spring up over the past decade because of the sequel trilogy, and there have been a lot of like interesting partnerships. But for Aki, who was a baby when this happened, I want to recap like my favorites. Like I would say that there were like three major touch points of this campaign for me. And the first one was the KFC Taco Bell Pizza Hut team up. This is from a commercial where the Taco Bell Chihuahua, rest in peace, the Colonel Sanders, and this random Pizza Hut girl that I'm pretty sure they made up, like they made her up just for this campaign. Like they arrive on a battlefield and they turn and see the droid army, and like she whips out a blaster and Colonel Sanders has a lightsaber, and like they battle the freaking droid army, and they release like this poster art. Like this campaign was intense. And then on top of that, to kind of couple with that campaign, they had toys as well as a like lottery thing going on. So if you'd go to KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut, and you would collect like little papers that were essentially like collecting bottle caps, right? And the more you collected, the higher your chances were of winning real cash money. um and I don't know anyone who won it, but you know what, I believe it. And the third part of this, so like so each like franchise had its own planet assigned to it. So Tatooine was Taco Bell, and then what was it, it was like Naboo, I think, was KFC, and then Pizza Hut was Coruscant. And so you could get different specific toys. Yeah. Like this was elaborate.
This
there were
is like
layers.
the same era as like the Pokemon movie with the Pokeballs.
Mm. Oh my God, with those like golden cards that weighed like a
Yeah.
pound. Oh my God. Like kids marketing back then was something else. And it was just, it was amazing. And then I don't know if you remember this one, Dustin, but there was also a Pepsi campaign where there were just like what, like 25 or 30 cans of like different types of things where you could get each character and then like a quote on them. And I was like a super poor kid, so like I didn't get a lot of the toys.
Nope.
So I got the Pepsi cans, and I drank so much soda in like 1998, 1999, so that I could get all of these, right? And then I came home one day from school, and my mom had done like her monthly house cleaning, and they were gone
Oh
completely,
no.
completely gone. And it broke my heart too, because like I had worked so hard to get these individually one by one. I don't think I've ever belched as much in my life as I did between 98 and 99, because I drank so much soda, and they had these like awesome vending machines, dude. Like there was, oh God, like that. And that's just the marketing. Like that's just touching on the
Mhm,
marketing
mhm.
too, because there were like so many commercials that were like, what is going on here to normal people? But then when a Star Wars fan saw it, we were like, oh my God, Padme Amidala is hanging out with the freaking PepsiCo mascot. I don't know, whatever. Something like that. And then speaking of Padme, there was also a collaboration with the Scholastic Book Fair, if we remember that. That back in the day, kids, I don't know if they do this anymore, but back in the day, at schools, we would get a catalog every year from the Scholastic Book Fair, and then we'd be able to like place orders and go pick them up at our book fair, and then maybe like buy some more or whatever. And so they dropped these journals, and it was Queen Amidala, Anakin Skywalker, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. They dropped these in September, before like 98, and I want to like September, July, something like that. Either way, it was in 1998. And so while everyone else in the fandom got spoiled on, well, hold on, I don't know if Aki's gotten there yet. I think
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
okay,
matter.
I'm pretty
so
sure
late.
you know.
I'm
I'm pretty
so
sure
late.
you know that Qui-Gon is dead. You know he dies, and so
Yeah, I would assume so. I haven't. Nobody talks about him right now, so I would assume that if you're not talked about, you have to be.
yeah,
Yeah, Liam Neeson's dead as fuck. So
Neeson's dead. Yeah, so like everyone else was getting spoiled a little later on, because when they dropped the soundtrack, there was a track on it, and it was just blatantly titled Qui-Gon's Noble End, and everyone was like, Qui-Gon's gonna die. I found out in freaking September because Padme's journal came out at that time. And then this like chapter starts, and every chapter features at the beginning, like Padme is in one of her new outfits because she has so many outfits that movie that like it chronologically cataloged the outfits that she was wearing. And so she shows up, and then the first line is like, "We lost Qui-Gon today." I'm like sitting there in like my like what first second grade class, like what? Like, are you kidding me? And yeah, and so that was mostly my prequel experience. I
So
do want to highlight. Oh, go on.
Are you telling me that Qui-Gon had to die so I would be bored? Because I also popped out in September 1998.
Well, that was September the previous year. I looked it up. The movie actually came out of May of 1999.
1999, yeah. But I'm trying to say is I'm September of 1998, and if you were spoiled,
Oh, so you're 98.
yeah, I'm 98. I'm 98.
So yeah.
So
what you're
Qui-Gon had
saying
to
is,
die for me to live.
yeah. So basically, what
fair
you're saying
trade.
is you're Qui-Gon Jinn's reincarnation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Trisha Paytas' daughter can be Queen Elizabeth, why can't I be Liam Neeson?
It is a huge honor to have you on this podcast, Mr. Neeson.
Sorry for getting cut in half.
It's just like, okay, and I might get flamed for this. Flamed was a word we used long ago, Aki, when people yell at you on the internet. But I watched that scene, like I've watched that scene so many times in my life, and I see him like strike Qui-Gon down, and the only explanation I can think of is that Qui-Gon like either knew or just didn't look over his shoulder fast enough. Because I'm pretty sure like Qui-Gon turns and like looks at like Maul, like as Maul's about to, because he kicks him in the face, right? And then stabs him. It's just it's not a noble end in my opinion.
Wow.
I don't know. So that's where I'm at. Aquino Neeson. Thanks for subscribing from our friends at Secret Nerd Pod. So the final piece of nostalgia I'll give, and then I will open the floor to you guys. There were a lot of toys, lots of toys released, obviously, for this campaign. But this was the toy that I got to have, and it was a Comtech reader. This thing.
Wow, yeah.
Oh my god! Like, I was obsessed with this thing, and it was like it was huge. So when you see the comm links in the movie, they're like not bigger than like someone's finger, but like these things were massive. They were like 1980s cell phone size, and you would get one of the little Hasbro figures, and it would come with a Comtech chip, and then you'd scan the chip, and someone who was definitely not the actor for that character would say a line that character said. So there are like videos of people like scanning Comtech readers, and I have like a Mace Windu Comtech chip on my keychain. But these voices sound so off. But I was obsessed. I would just like walk around my complex being like the weird little neurodivergent I was, just like tapping. Oh, they listening to their stuff. I'd be like hanging out with my friends. They'd be riding their bikes and playing soccer. And I'd be like tap 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 tap, just to hear them. So yeah, so those were my prequel experiences. Dusty, do you have anything you'd like to contribute from your
Well,
experience?
so actually, the prequels were actually, as far as I remember, my introduction to Star Wars. My
Mm.
dad was a huge nerd, Star Trek, like he likes so OG Star Wars as well.
Mhm.
So he took me because he wanted to watch it. And what sold me when I saw those cool ass laser swords, and then to 6, 7 year old me, when pod racing was introduced, I was all in. Like I was a Power
Oh
Rangers
yeah.
kid, and when I
Oh.
see these cool ass like motorized bikes with all these very questionable characters, with all these very racist stereotypes, but these cool ass bikes, that's what I was there for. Um,
Mhm.
and then also just like the lightsabers, like Darth Maul was always like the sickest motherfucker around. Like you
Mhm.
saw that poster, I'm like, that looks scary, but I want to know what their vibe is because that's
Mhm.
exactly how I talked when I was a kid. I want to know what their vibe was. Um, but so then a lot of like the marketing got me after, so like the post movie tie-ins, like I remember reading some of the books for sure because I was like I couldn't buy the Scholastic books. What I would do, I would try to read them before the book fair ended and anyone caught me. So I would
Mhm.
do that.
Nice. Yeah.
The toy lightsabers, everyone was either dressed up as a Jedi or Darth Maul for Halloween that
Mhm.
year.
Yep.
And there was one thing. This is something that I saw recently and remembered that one of my friends had it as a kid. They actually released cookbooks about episode
Oh.
one. I think episode two, but definitely episode one, where they would show you like they had all these pun names, but it was just like pigs in a blanket, or like I think there was like Obi-Wan's like ice cooler or something like that. Things that didn't make sense. But it was just like they would just try to do anything, and there were the simple recipes that a kid could make.
Mhm.
And it's just it's wild. The marketing and just like promotion material and just like everything was so different back then. You're not gonna get like an episode 9 cookbook.
We have like general Star Wars cookbooks, but they aren't like specific, right? Because I have the Batu ones, but they aren't like here's this one cookbook and it's got a bunch of zingers and puns based exclusively on this particular movie. And like that's
Mhm.
that's what made it so fun was like I don't know, like maybe we were definitely cornier back then and like I that marketing campaign fully appealed to our corniness and our love for puns and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
like I'm glad you brought up like Maul being presented as like such a scary figure because I remember that was a big deal. Like he was scary and like Vader, I guess. Like I feel like Vader was very scary to his generation. Like when he first came out in 1970, like seeing Darth Vader and his intimidating big old presence was like, holy wow, that guy is scary. But then we see this man who like shows up and he's literally the devil. Like
Yeah. No, my abuela didn't like them.
oh my god, yeah. I my abuela had moved back to Chile, so she wasn't allowed to have opinions on my movie watching uh things but at that point, which was good because I don't think she would have allowed me to go me or my dad. She would have definitely stopped my dad, her like 40 something year old son, and been like, no, no, that's of the
Ah,
devil.
ah.
That's from the devil. You don't get to go like that, man. I don't know. I Latino Catholic abuelas, they are like part of the reason there was a whole like campaign against Pokemon like back in the 90s because it was also made by the devil, of course.
Yeah, of
So
course. Have
yeah,
you seen
so
Pikachu?
yeah, totally looks that's a demon if I ever saw one. That small little electric rat.
And look, like episodes, the new trilogy, like 7 through 9, they had Adam Driver, equally as scary.
He
He's
is large.
actually the devil, though. You don't understand.
Like Adam Driver or Kylo Ren?
Yes.
Yeah. Kylo Ren is hilarious. Kylo Ren is, that's my Star Wars era. Just the Rey trilogy, and I only saw the first 2 movies.
You're safe.
Well, I know you've been like you've been starting your prequel watch as of recent. We got you to watch like the first half of the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts so far on the prequels?
The pacing is so fast. I thought we were done. Like I was like, okay, well, this feels like we're getting close to done, right? And then I was like, oh, we're like a quarter in. What? A lot of shit happened. Like a lot. I don't know realistically a lot of these characters. Like I sort of recognize them visually.
Mm.
The rat tail was Obi-Wan, right? That's who
Yes.
he is. What he looked like he belongs in like a boy band, like NSYNC or something. And that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought the whole time.
Mhm.
I recognize because I knew that Natalie Portman was in the movies, and I
Mhm.
know who she plays. So unfortunately, I clocked the switch immediately. I was like, "That's Natalie Portman in the background." I thought she was a princess. Oh, this is switcher. Like it was very loud about it.
Mhm.
The only thing that we like stopped near the pod racing, like around the pod racing time. So
Mhm.
I have not experienced that properly yet.
Mhm.
But that means I've watched up until then. So I got to experience like the racism. And I didn't mind that too much. I mean, like, what am I gonna do now? Like, okay, it's just like 25 years old.
Jeez.
Um
Wow.
what did throw me off though was little Anakin having so much Riz at 7. I was surprised. He met a girl once. He looked at her. He saw her. He knew her for like 10 seconds and not even on a name basis. And he was like, "Are you an angel? What the fuck? There's
Look,
angels in space." There's
I love the explanation too. Like, oh, they're actual creatures. Some pilots told me about them. It's like, okay.
yeah, I was here for that, but like also like he's 7. What is he doing risen up Natalie Portman? I don't even know how old she is. I'm assuming they're close in age, but like you know, like she like hit puberty first, so he looks like a child that you
Well,
still need to read bedtime stories to, and she looks like she could cross the street by herself, but they're both still young.
they're like 6 to 7 years apart.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
Mhm.
So she would have been like 13, 14 or something.
Yeah, she was
What
14.
is he doing? Have you seen the like the TikTok sound where it's like oh shit, it's like a little kid speaking Spanish and he's like, "Hola mama, ¿cómo estás?" And she's like, "Don't." He's like, "I'm not your mom. Don't mommy me. I'm like 20." And he's like, "You're 20? Oh, it's okay, baby girl. Nobody has to know." That's what that scene was. I was like, Jesus.
Yep. No, he really lays it on thick. And
Mm.
while I certainly wouldn't want to be a 14-year-old getting hit on by a 7-year-old, I feel like because I'm neurospicy, like that kind of pickup line would have absolutely worked on me if it were from someone of my age group. Like,
Yeah.
are you an angel? Yeah, you know.
Oh my god.
Is
You know,
it's all of that, and he's 7, and he's like, by the way, I'm a slave, and also I've been making ships forever now because I'm a slave to this shipyard, and you want to go racing? Let's go racing. I don't even know what they're gonna win yet. His freedom? I don't know. I was too alarmed by everything else. Um And oh my god, and then he's like fucking Liam Neeson was like super casually like, oh, let me take care of this boo boo. Takes all the blood and goes, all right. That's exactly what my grandma's afraid of when they keep taking blood. So yeah, like he just took all that, went Obi-Wan. Test this blood for chemicals, for the force gene. I don't fucking know. How he
the
casually tells his
introduction.
mother that he wasn't here to free slaves.
The introduction of midichlorians.
It was a lot. There was a lot going on. But like, I'm kind of here for it. I knew what I signed up for. General confusion. In my opinion, Star Wars is really bad at here are the characters, and then here's the world, and then here's a new world with new characters, like every so often. But like I don't really mind that because like if I can consume like Marvel and Justice League content, like I can consume Star Wars content. It's basically the same. They're all in spandex. So there's that. But yeah, I just the Anakin always having Riz was definitely not on my checklist. My exposure to Anakin was the Clone Wars TV show. But like, not in order or anything. I just watched it when I could make it for that time on TV because I'm a child. And like, I don't know about episode numbers. I just like, haha, they're fun. And I thought he was hot on the show. I was like, yeah, this is a hot white man.
Well, the show has him. That's like his like late teens, early 20s. It's like right before Revenge of the Sith. So
yeah, it follows from Attack of the Clones to Revenge of the Sith. So you see,
Yeah,
like
I thought he was like, I knew that he fucked, like, and that and that he had, like, because this makes sense. He had to have some form of Riz or something. That or Padme's really into like useless men, but that's also fine. And like, like I wasn't gonna judge, but like, no, yeah, 7-year-old Riz filled Anakin was not. That was disturbing. That. Can you imagine if like Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone, so that era, started flirting with you? It's Christmas. Like, oh my god, stop.
Oh my god. No, I fully agree. I guess I also didn't expect Anakin to have Riz, but I will say I was the same age as Jake Lloyd at the time, so I absolutely like wrote him a fan email on he had like an AOL address too that was like up on his website or whatever. It's like you could deliver fan mail here, and he wrote me back, and I think we talked about like homework or something. I don't know. I had no Riz as a 9-year-old, let me tell you. And I was just so excited that he like replied back to me and stuff. So I remember that. I would say that Anakin's Riz stayed just about the same for the rest of his life, where like part of you is like, what are you saying? And then the other part of you is like, no, I understand how this would fly with Padme, like.
I just watched Attack of the Clones today.
Yeah.
Which is like the whole, that's like, as they're adults, that's like the whole like falling in love arc. And honestly, George Lucas, I know you're watching. What the fuck? You can't write teens. Why did they let you write? Right? Why? Anakin comes off as the creeper. I wouldn't want to be alone in the same room as adult Anakin during that time. The way he talked to Natalie Portman. And Natalie Portman, for some reason, was like, oh my God. Like
I mean, okay, to George's credit, what he did was he cast Hayden Christensen.
Yes, and look, like honestly, Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman killed it. They delivered their lines. They delivered what they were supposed to do perfectly. But what they're supposed to do was bad because George Lucas can't write people. He could write droids. C-3PO, perfect. R2-D2, love him. That little beep boop motherfucker, but like, no.
I love this. I was so excited when I booked you two because I knew this would be like a really fun show. So thank you. I and it like I don't know. I have no ability to like measure George Lucas's amount of Riz because he's like married to like a really hot, powerful lady CEO now. Like he just walks around and is her arm candy. And I don't know how he did it. Like I like
Oh,
did he reuse all of his Anakin lines and it just
oh
kind of
no,
sailed?
I don't want to hear. No, I do not want to hear that. Actually, no, that would be really funny. Mr. Lucas, you're still watching. I understand. Could you record that, please, on a
Yeah.
cameo or
Could
something?
you come on and tell us how you got your wife to fall in love with you? Because I would love to. I'd love to hear it. I would. I want to know what. I want to know what happened with the guy who wrote "You've Grown Too More Beautiful." I mean, landed that super hot lady CEO because, like, it
Ugh.
would just be helpful.
All I'm gonna say is romance around the Lucas time is either like very romantic or like you need a restraining order. So like I've that's what I've heard. You know, like I heard one of my like my great grandmother's romance, and I'm like, my mom always has to include, you know, it was during the times, it was for the times, and I'm like, she was 13, please. What time? No time. So you know, like I can say I can do that one. But like, you know, if Lucas, if Mr. Lucas has the Riz, like my dad, for example, my dad would like show up and like sing and serenade my mom. So like, you
Oh.
know, like I was like, so maybe he's got the secret Riz of song.
George Lucas, creator of Riz music.
Well, isn't one of the thing called Jizz straight up?
Exactly. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
yep.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
pun. It's just like he pulled out the. I'm not even gonna say it. He pulled out the Riz.
Well, speaking of the music in episode one,
Oh
does hit
yes,
like that. Episode one is Duel of the Fates, right?
yeah. That's Duel
Ugh.
of the Fates. That's when Anakin's theme is introduced, and like both of those are just like Duel of the Fates gets all the credit it absolutely deserves. But I was listening to Anakin's theme like right before we started, and I was like, this is like on par with Ray's theme because it's one of those themes that has that like the gliding like up and down notation, but then in it you could hear that almost every note is from Darth Vader's theme, just like
Mhm.
slightly rearranged or like toned up or toned down. But it still sounds like this like complete beautiful composition. And then like Duel of the Fates, like how do you top that? Like it's one of those songs where like the first two notes are on or the first two like choir sounds pop up and you know immediately like not only is
Aki, do
it
you know
Star
this one?
Wars.
No.
Oh, you're gonna
We're gonna show you. It's legitimately just like good fucking music.
you're never
Yeah, no,
gonna
I
forget
know.
it.
Yeah, I know Star Wars music is actually pretty good. But like if you're gonna ask me, like, okay, like what do I know? I know the OG theme
Hmm.
because,
Mhm.
of course, I know Andor's opening little thing,
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
and the
mhm.
Mandalorian's theme. And Boba Fett's opening theme. Oh my fucking god, I love that one.
Boom,
That's the
boom.
one that I'm like, yeah, yeah, I get pumped to watch. I love Book of Boba Fett. I love that loser so much. I love him so much. He's such a loser.
I
There's a
love
whole
it.
season of him being a loser. I love it so much. And then
Have
his
you
theme is like so hype, and I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah.
so you've watched Clone Wars, so you know about like teenage Boba too, and like all of his adventures. Good, because
Yeah.
like
It
I
doesn't
I
add up, and I love it. I'm like, you're not who you were in your prime, and I love
but
you.
at the same time, like teenage Boba is such an idiot. Like he's
Yeah.
such an outright moron,
Yeah.
freaking just like and
He
I
was
just
Oh,
seeing that go from like that to like I don't think about cool guy Boba Fett exclusively. I think about dumb teenage Boba Fett who got himself locked in a crate because he tried to outsmart Asajj Ventress. Like if you
Mhm.
take it from there to like the dude he is in the Boba Fett series, it's like, yeah, that adds up completely.
I don't think I don't like to think of him as a cool guy. I just like to think of him as a guy who got a suit. Um, like I love him
I,
because he's such a loser. I love who plays him as well, like
yes.
in the live action stuff, and also
Mhm.
I fucking love like a banther. Like what the
Like
fuck
a
was
Panther.
that?
The
I
thing
fucking love it.
okay, Boba Fett reminds me of this person I used to know. I wouldn't call them a friend, but they're a person I used to know. And like this was somebody who like you could tell that like in middle school they were not popular like the rest of us or whatever. Like we were all not popular because we were all nerds. We all watched anime. That was not cool back in the day. And this dude, all he did was work out a bunch and stop talking. He like never said anything. And women, there I go. I didn't want to say anything derogatory, but women flocked to this dude. And like as soon as you got him into a conversation, you would be like, this guy is not cool. He does not have riz. All he does is he's real freaking quiet and he has muscles. And that's the Boba Fett effect. Is putting on Boba just shut up and put on some armor, and everyone thought he was cool, but underneath he was a big freaking dork the whole
I
time.
love him so much. I love him
Oh,
so much.
I love it. I love it.
Such a loser. I love him. I love him very dearly. And I don't want another season. I just want that one season. That's mine.
That's your adventure. That's your
Yeah, that's it.
thing.
I don't care, man. That's my season. This is
Now I
just a
want to do a
loser.
Book of Boba Fett recap with you.
Literally, it's just a loser trying to live, and the woman making sure he lives. That's it. That's all it was. And I'm so, oh god. And then they have an uncle friend. That's
Mhm.
it. And then there's an uncle friend. That's it. That's it.
I love it. I love it so much. It was such a fun series. Like that's what it was. Is it was a fun Star Wars show, and people just pretended that they just didn't, they weren't alive during the prequels when like Star Wars got to be like fun and kooky and weird. I like Star Wars when it's weird and hilarious. That's some of my favorite parts of the whole franchise, but I digress. So TBM 25 is this year. It's 25 years since the debut of the Phantom Menace, and we are going back to theaters this May, starting on May 3rd, to see the show or the movie on the big screen. How are y'all feeling about that?
Look, I don't know when I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna go because like I want I want to be in the screen. I want the theme to hit. I want
Mm-hmm.
to see like the lightsaber duels because one thing I was noticing look going back, these movies like CGI, no, it was of its time. But the actual filmmaking itself was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the scenes, the cinematography, like the lighting was you could see shit in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Um Also
Remember
the
when we
cost
saw shit in the dark,
I
y'all?
know.
Remember when we had gaffers?
And the costume department killed it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's so like I seeing that it from an actual like cinematography and like filmmaking perspective, it hits. It's really good and nice looking. Writing is shit.
Mm.
But what could you do? It brought in a whole new generation. Like it spawned like Darth Maul looks cool as shit. They
Mhm.
did the bad thing of showing the double sided lightsabers in the trailers.
Mm.
Um, if that just happened in the movie and you didn't know it, everyone would lose their fucking mind.
Oh my god, dude. Like
Ugh.
just seeing that cuz I remember when we first saw I don't think we got to see Mace Windu's lightsaber before it like debuted in Attack of the Clones. And that was like the first time anyone had a purple lightsaber. So
Mhm, mhm.
thinking about like folks coming out of like that first showing of Phantom Menace and going like, this dude has two lightsabers in his lightsaber, blah.
Yeah.
Like I would have lost my freaking mind. But I guess, back in the day we didn't really have like the mystery box or anything like that. Like I said, the freaking TPM journals spoiled Qui-Gon for me. The soundtracks spoiled Qui-Gon for quite a few people. And so like it was just like the when it came to movie trailers, it was like, let's show 50% of the coolest stuff that happens in this movie so that we can get people into theaters. But I fully agree that like I think they could have just shown Darth Maul and it
Yeah.
people would have been like, "All right, I'm going to go see this Devil Man in my Star War and
Hmm.
it's going to be great." Like I fully agree with that. Like man, I'm excited, Aki. Like I know you're watching it now, but I'm excited for you to like see this in theaters and like get to have the full body reaction of like watching it.
See, yeah, I was thinking of going to see it in theaters. My issue is I don't think I'm gonna be able to see it with anybody. Like
Mm.
maybe my dad, maybe my dad's a big movie guy, but I
Mhm.
don't know if he'll be up for seeing it in theaters, you know?
Mhm.
Um I'll have to like ask, but like otherwise I don't know if I have anybody who wants to actively go watch Star Wars
Bring them and
in
say, "Hey, we're
theaters.
going to a movie." Guess what?
Yeah.
New Star Wars movie. I lied. It's
Mhm.
25 years old.
See, a big part of me wants to take my dad so I can lean over every now and then and be like, "Do you remember this? Because I don't." You know,
Remember this
just
Rita?
like, what were you doing? What were we
You
doing?
should. I feel like your dad would be down to watch this.
I think he'd be down. Yeah, he's a big movie guy. Except like rather than rather than Star Wars, like I knew stuff about Star Wars as a child, but like I didn't really watch it. But like he
Mhm.
made me watch things like he made me watch Alien 1, 2, 3, and 4
Oh wow.
as a child. So like
Oh.
I've seen like that. He's more of an action guy. However, our asses did also sit and watch Lord of the Rings,
Mhm. Mm.
all of it. And then we
That's the way to
watched
do it.
the Hobbit trilogy as well. And then like during the pandemic, we watched Lord of the Rings trilogy again, all in one sitting on Christmas.
Mhm.
The director's extended edition. So that was like a full like almost a full 24 hours of us just sitting in place watching.
Oh
So I
my
mean
god.
maybe he'd be down.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we if you do go to the theaters for it, it's we live in a wonderful era where like you can basically get like full meals and like alcohol at most theaters at this point.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Like I'm
Oh,
hoping to see it at like something along the lines of an Alamo Draft House, where I can like sit back and like enjoy a cocktail themed after like Obi-Wan's Padawan braid.
oh my god. I bet the pod racing would be so much better when you're lit as fuck.
Oh! Oh my god. It's already like such a great sequence. Like and so much like went into it. And every time I think about like pod racing, I think about how the pod racing sequence is how I learned about sound design. Um
Mhm.
like I found out about like how Matt Wood, who had like just started working at Lucasfilm at that point, like was a like you know entry level sound guy, and they went and like filmed like motorcycles and they filmed plane engines like right on a runway to like develop those sounds that were like specifically for pod racers. So now when I like think of a pod racer sound, it's like oh and like I'm like, oh yeah, that was made like for real. So I think I'm really excited for people to like see it because I feel like what what we I don't know what we see. Wait, I just lost my thought. Hold on. Um, I feel like the things that we don't appreciate about the prequels are gonna get highlighted. Like a lot of folks are like, oh, it's all CG, it's all this, it's all that. But like getting it in front of your face and seeing like, yeah, the outline of that has been like edited with CG so that it's like smoother, but then it's also not CG. It's like this is a practical effect that has been, cleaned up by CG, and I'm excited for that. So yeah. I think we're about at time now. So I wanted to thank both of you for coming on in and enjoying time with us and just talking about the prequels. Thank you so much. Where can we find you on the internet, Aki?
Oy, you can find me all over the internet at some variation of akinomi_art, where I do a lot of things, too many things. I would give you my whole history, but it's it's extensive, and it's so much easier if you just follow me, and then you can see my stuff. I will be on streaming Girl by Moonlight tomorrow, though, at 9 p.m. Eastern,
Ooh.
over at Magi RPG. So that's a very, very new project. That's our first stream. I get to be a magical girl, and a bitch
I
in the
love
best
that.
in the best way possible.
Mm,
So yeah,
love it. Sailor Neptune is like my favorite magical girl, and she is like
Sailor
that
Neptune's my favorite too.
she's like that combination too, where it's like,
Oh yeah.
oh, I love her so much. She's so sassy and so like good at it. So like I just like she's my Pisces role model. Dusty, where can we find you on the internet?
The biggest thing in regards to this, you can find us, all of us actually, at an Unwavering Force, which is a Star Wars
Woo!
actual play podcast. Um, like Katrina mentioned, Aki plays Soma, our lovely, lovely trash person.
Mm-hmm.
Katrina joins us later in the season, but they are uh, a pop star turned rebel spy. Which honestly, if that doesn't get you interested, I don't know what will.
Mm-hmm.
You guys find me Goblets Gays. Find me at Dusty E Hill, Dusty Hill online. One big thing I want to say, maybe also check out Bring Your Own Mech. It's a Lancer Mecha podcast. Maybe check out it. I don't know, maybe Wednesday or something. Just go to their Twitter. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. The Twitter is own mech, right?
At Own
OWN.
Mech, yeah.
Yeah.
Aki and I are both on that. It's honestly, it's a really good show. You can go listen to all of season one. It's killer. Amelia, our sound design, who also plays Matcha, one of the players, is incredible. All our characters have their own theme, which is so fucking cool. It's
Dude,
so cool.
wow.
Anyways, go check it out.
Yes, yes. Check out all of those things, and especially our show on Unwavering Force, which you can catch up to right now. If you are following me on socials, it's like right in my header, so you can head right over to at Unwavering Force and listen to the show. Yeah, and then you can follow me anywhere at OHCATRINA on the internet. In the Cantina does not have its own accounts yet, but who knows? Maybe that'll change soon. Until then, you can find all show updates on my socials, and we're back in 2 weeks with another show with a guest that I am in the process of booking. So stay tuned for announcements. Thanks again, both of you, for coming on to the show, and to you, to the viewers, to George Lucas, to George Lucas's hot wife. May the force, may the force be with you. See you later, folks. Bye bye.